Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Halcyon from Halcyon Private Limited. Today we'll be talking about Clause 10 improvement. Joining me is our quality management expert, Mr. Rascal. So without wasting time, we'll get straight into it. Welcome back, Rasta. Hope you're excited to finish off 9001. So this will be our last video, so we'll talk about Clause 10. Let's get started.
Thank you, Ashan, and good to be back again. So the clause number 10 is very important, but more or less we are not using this clause number 10. That's my basic experience. So let's talk about it.
So talking about Clause 10 is all about improvement, focusing on how organizations can make their quality management systems more effective and continuously evolve. So Mr. Asta, why is improvement such a core aspect of ISO 9001 2015 standard?
It was a great question, Ashan. Improvement, any organization, they want the improvement, right? Like we call it continuous improvement. So ISO 9000 2015 standard talk about the continuous improvement. So in this clause, we are basically talk about if you have a non-conformity. In later we are going to discuss what you mean by non-conformity. So you try to stop recurrence. If I take one example, you have a defective product, or you maybe there's an issue with your service level. So then you have to make sure it not repeating again in other production line, or maybe with some other employees. So you take action for that, and then we take those are if you have a problems, and then you take ongoing small step, if you are into 5S or TPM lean journey, right? So you can link all these. So we call it Kaizen, Kobetsu Kaizen kind of improvement. So you continuously you work with the quality team, so you improvement. So those can be part of this particular clause. So you basically improvement of your productivity, or maybe improvement of your minimizing the type of defect, improvement product quality, or maybe there can be some projects in line with this, quality improvement project or new product launch project. So on this particular clause, you try to look for customer satisfaction, more delivery. So these are the key areas which this particular clause is looking for. So this is very important. The improvement, any organization is basically looking for, and then if the person who handle ISO project, if they can collect a lot of information, and if we can work on a lot of projects, the improvement projects, top management will basically give their blessings, and whenever you need funding, you can easily get funding because you already prove that the recurrence of the non-conformities are minimizing, and then there's a continuous improvement. So this is a very important clause.
So Clause 10 includes three main elements: general improvement, non-conformity, and corrective action. So also continual improvement. So let's start with the general concept of improvement. What does this entail?
Basically, general improvement encourage organization to look for opportunities to enhance their process, like product, service. So ISO can be taken to any organization, right? So it's not just fixing the problem. See, element number 10, most of the people think it's a correction and corrective action for your non-conformity. It's not that, right? So it's not fixing the problem. So it's you need to cover that part, as well as you try to finding the ways to innovate and optimize your operation. So in this element we talk about that part, creating better outcome, and then maybe improving customer satisfaction as well as stakeholder satisfaction. So both will be looking in this particular area. So that's what I mean by the kind of improvement.
That's a great perspective. Moving on to non-conformity and corrective action in 10.2. So how should businesses approach this?
Yeah, this is all about identifying the problem, right? Non-conformity. So there are methodologies. First, see, in general public, what we do is, if there's a non-conformity, you started to provide the solution, but the ISO way is not accepted like that. So you have to find the root cause, right? So then when you do the root cause analysis, there are tools YY, FMEA, PPA analysis, process point analysis. So depend on the problem, the criticality, you can use these tools, and then you do the root cause analysis. Then you identify the proper roots for this particular problem, and then you propose the corrective action, and then you make sure that it's a preventive, right? So I mean, like it's basically like prevent them from happening again. So these are the key requirements. So and then of course you need to have a documented evidence for these activities. So this will be like very like productive, as well as like you can bring team into this, and then you can work on that. So whenever there's a non-conformity, maybe you can have a kind of a separate team, work on the root cause, and then finding the correct action, and then implement it, and then if that action prevent the particular the defect or the service level, then maybe you can have a kind of a reward system for that. So this is very interactive session under this clause you can use with the team.
Thank you. So finally, let's talk about continual improvement. What's the focus here, and how is it different from corrective actions?
Continual improvement is a proactive approach. Before something happens, you take action. It's about consistently reviewing and referring your quality management system, even when there's no immediate problem. It's actually driven by data. Let me take one example. Like say for example, you say, okay, our customer satisfaction should maintain above 85. So when you start, it's 95, 98, then 92, 93, you can see hint of a decrease, but your standard is 85. So if you theoretically said, okay, I'm fine, I'm not having any problem, but someone can take proactive approach and say, okay, we start at 95, but now we are going kind of a downward trend. So you can take action. So the continual improvement is about that. And then maybe audit. So auditors might give some feedback about the risk-based approach when they do the audit. When they do the audit, they do the risk-based audit, right? So they give a kind of high-risk areas. So there's no problem, but it can escalate into a problem. So you can take that feedback, right? So this means somebody is always keep an eye on your health rate. So you're not that there's no problem actually at this point, but there can be some problematic areas. So you take continuous improvement, look at your system, you do internal audit, get the feedback. So those are the areas. So this will basically make sure your organization is moving the right direction. Or maybe in this element you can look at the external factors as well. So what is the world trend going on? So continuous improvement. So then based on that you can plan your organization direction. So this is one area you maybe keep your eye on, especially if you are into the top management category.
Can you share us an example on how Clause 10 has helped an organization achieve significant improvements?
Right, okay. I'm coming from a kind of a strong manufacturing background, right? So I'll take one example in manufacturing industry. So we are working with one particular project. They're having so much of defects. Defects is very high. So it's a non-conformity. So you have inline, you have final QA, non-conformities are there. So what we did was initially we use the quality control tools, raise the non-conformity, then ask them to go back and do the corrective action, and then identify the corrective action. So then using that approach with the team, we were able to reduce the amount of non-conformities, and then we shift our approach into a proactive. So we go beyond that, so those are basic root cause analysis and approach. So then we train the team to identify these activities, and then we empower team to manage this kind of situation. So then before something happen, they go back to the root, the machine condition, temperature, timing, all settings they try to analyze. So with that they were able to minimize all critical defects, right? So there are minor defects, still this is a kind of ongoing project, but they were managed to eliminate all the critical defects. So this is one example. Working with the team, element number 10, start with the corrective action, but then start with the non-conformity part, but then we couple with the continuous improvement, right? So improvement, not only the machine improvement, machine, system, people, all three improvements basically resulting into the improvement of the entire organization. So this is the part of continual improvement culture. This is a classic example. Very recently we experienced this example.
Thank you, Mr. Asta, for sharing your valuable insights, and giving us the time to share your knowledge. I think we have covered all the clauses in ISO 9001 2015 standard, and thank you for your support. So hopefully we see you in another series of videos. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshan. I think like this is the last video we are producing for ISO 9000 on 2015 base. So I think like in this video series we covered the entire 9000 on 2015 requirement. So if you have any question, any clarification, or anything to get to know from our end, like please feel free to chat with us and then use our number to call. And then same time, if you feel this video is valuable for your friends or somebody else, share the videos. And then we have some good news. So I think like we are going for a new standard. And wait for that.